Welcome to the Arc of Grace Harbor's 2021 Supported Employment Informational Workshop with Shawna Myers from the Coastal Community Action Program and Debbie Harders from Morningside, and me, your host, Christy Childs. Enjoy the program. Hi everyone, I'm Christy with the Arc of Grace Harbor, here tonight to talk about supported employment. With us we have Shawna Myers from the Coastal Community Action Program and Debbie Harders from Morningside. Hi guys, thanks for being here.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Same.
What is supported employment? So what is supported employment? It's a model of employment that provides people with disabilities the appropriate ongoing support that is necessary for success in a competitive work environment. Most individuals in supported employment program receive services from a community-based service provider, such as Morningside or the Coastal Community Action Program, or CCAP. Generally, community-based service providers offer vocational assessment, locate or develop jobs, and provide job skills training. Most providers have job coaches who work at the job site and help the client learn job tasks, identify job modifications, including assistive technology, and work with the employer to solve behavioral or social problems. So I guess I'll start with you, Shawna. If you want to kind of speak to that and how that works at CAP, that would be awesome.
Yeah, sure. First, one of the things I want to mention is sometimes we get people who are like, oh, my loved one can't work, or, oh, I can't work. And that's just simply not true. Work can look different for each person. And at our agency, we've gotten really, really good, at both agencies, we've gotten really, really good about job development and developing the right job for that person. And that could mean, one-on-one individualized support through their entire shift, or that can mean, checking in from time to time to make sure they're stable in their job.
Yeah, so that looks a little bit different for everybody. That's good to know. Yeah, perfect. Thank you, Shawna. Debbie, do you have anything to add?
Sure. The first thing that comes to mind is when Shawna talked about people coming in and saying that their loved one just, work isn't appropriate for them, that they're never going to find a job. I just want to point out sometimes it does take small steps. We've had people that have taken 2 or 3 years before they've gotten to that point, but there is a job out there for everybody. It's just a matter of finding the right fit. And the other thing that I sort of wanted to stress was the role of job developers in getting to meet that client and really getting to know the client, so then when they do go out into the community, that they're able to find those good job matches. And a lot of times, people work at a job. We have a client right now who's worked at a job for 10 years, and now she wants a different job. So she'd actually graduated from our program. She became a close friend of mine, which we had to back up our friendship so that she could become a client again, just to avoid conflict of interest. But she's looking for a new job, a different kind of job, because of her growth over the years, and she's ready to do something different. So
that's incredible.
Person, yeah.
Well, I think both of your agencies do such a great job of, taking people where they are and, helping them move from there into, like Debbie said, and maybe they work at a job for a while and they grow even more, and just keeping up with that growth. And that's incredible.
I think that's one thing that both of our agencies, and just meeting different agencies at conferences and trainings and things, is both CAP and Morningside here in Grace Harbor are really good at meeting people where they're at, and working with them from there and making it very, very person-centered. Not trying to find a person that fits into a business, but rather trying to find the right business for that person.
Exactly. Yes, and then the right accommodations to make sure that that all fits and works.
Yeah,
you guys are great about that.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Who is supported employment designed to help? Okay, so who is supported employment designed to help? It's for individuals individuals with disabilities who need ongoing support to maintain employment. Employment and support is person-centered, like Debbie just talked about, and individualized. While some may choose to work an hour a week with 100% support, some may be assisted with full-time employment and periodic check-ins. So like you guys were talking about, it's kind of, all up to what people need. And it's really awesome, that flexibility, and your willingness to change that over time for people. If, at first they're only able to do a little bit, maybe they work to where they're able to work more hours or work more independently. So Shawna, I don't know if you have any more to kind of speak to on that.
Well, just a generalization. One of the things I like to mention about the employment programs through our agencies is it's not always just about the paycheck. Oftentimes we find that it's about more than the paycheck. It's about that sense of belonging and having that normalcy that we all strive for. More times than not, when we talk to the individuals we work with, their number one excitement in their employment is that they now have coworkers. Yeah. They have a name tag. They punch a time clock and they get the paycheck, but it's not so much even always about the money in the paycheck. It's just about being a part of a team.
Yeah, really being a part of the community and feeling like you have a purpose is so important, and we know that from our own lives, and it's important for everybody, regardless of, age or ability. Very important. I love that you brought that up. Thank you.
Well, when we meet someone new, one of the first questions we ask is, what do you do?
It's true.
So it's great for the individuals we work with to be able to say, this is what I do.
Yes, absolutely. Very empowering, very empowering. Debbie, did you have anything to add?
I'm just going to add on that because one of the clients that I was working with today, and I told them what I was doing, and these are the things that they said about their job, which almost echoes exactly what Shawna said, that he has a place in the community, he has purpose, he has pride, and he's built relationships.
Oh.
So, that's like straight from the client's mouth, that's exactly.
Yes.
And I think our county is really, really great. Our DDA services tend to be very goal oriented, but our county is also really, really good to, if a person does only want to work 1 hour a week and they're finding that fulfillment from that, we aren't pressured to find more hours and get everybody up to 20 hours a week or to be totally independent and off Social Security like they are in other areas. We really are able to meet our clients where they're at.
That's great. That's really good to hear, because it isn't for everybody, and that 1 or 2 hours a week may fulfill that need just as well. So that's wonderful. When is supported employment appropriate? Okay, so we're going to talk about when is supported employment appropriate. Supported employment can begin as part of a vocational rehabilitation program once an individual has left the public school system. Vocational rehabilitation has a responsibility to provide supported employment services when appropriate. School systems play a role as they are mandated to formally plan for the transition from school into adult services. So do you guys find that a lot of folks come to you directly out of high school or later? What do you guys find with that?
Yeah, so pre-COVID, we had a really robust transition program going through Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and which we were able to work with the students as they were still in school. So it was a great introduction to employment, and what we did with the students could look very different. Those are services that are still available through DVR. They're just not tapped into as often. So I would recommend those interested to speak with their guidance counselor at school currently if they're a student, to get tapped into the system, or reach out to CAP or Morningside to get set up with DVR and get going.
Absolutely. Those transition services are really critical.
They are.
Yeah. How about you, Debbie? What do you think?
So we have not traditionally done nearly as much with transition as CAP has. We have just, actually the emails are going out to the school districts tomorrow. We are starting a pre-S program through DVR,
Oh,
and
great.
it's worked really great in our other 3 counties. So the only 2 counties that haven't really unrolled this yet are Grays Harbor and Lewis County, and we just got permission from DVR to start this. So it is pretty much to work with students, and they can be students at the college, students in high schools, pretty much students in any kind of accredited education system, as long as they have a 504 or an IEP plan. We can start working with them as young as age 14 all the way up to age 22. So hopefully, again, this would be something to reach out to your guidance counselor about. We have, DVR has the enrollment forms, we have the enrollment form, and basically the parent or guardian, if the person is under 18, signing the permission slip is really all we need to get going. So over 18, they can sign it themselves, but
Yeah.
we're
Wow.
excited about it. It's really taken off in our Thurston and Pierce counties. So fingers crossed for down here.
Yeah, it was incredibly successful here as well. We had multiple students who were actually earning a wage in work-based learning programs. And so it was a real great opportunity for them to build their job skills and work experience and resume.
That's great. That's great. And just for anybody who isn't aware, pre-ETS is pre-employment transition services. Is that right? So this is kind of some things might be even before employment, some job skills and things like that that they might need would be included. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. I am so excited for, Debbie, for you guys to get that started. And that's awesome that, Shawna, you've had such success with it. How does supported employment happen? So, how does supported employment happen? Supported employment begins with the assembling of a team of individuals who will explore options and create a plan for supported employment. The planning team should include the individual with a disability, their family, school personnel, adult service providers, and members of the community who may be eligible to provide information and assistance. Vocational rehabilitation can begin with the supported employment plan and will fund services for a designated length of time, usually 1 year. Supported employment requires that services be provided without disruption, and the plan must designate the source of extended support service funds. State agencies that typically provide such funding are developmental disability, intellectual disability, mental health, or similar agencies. When state agencies are not available to fund supported employment, extended service solutions have been found by creative use of other programs such as Supplemental Security Income, or SSI. And that's kind of wordy, but I think what it boils down to is, what we've already kind of talked about, that we have a team of people that come together and they help to create a plan. And whether that person, is somebody who's still in school or somebody who lives at home with their family, if they have other service providers or members of the community that can help them, you guys will kind of come together with them to create their plan. And that usually happens through a state agency, the funding for that does. What agencies can help me get supported employment? That's kind of the way that somebody would get started. Is that correct?
Sure. I do have a couple notes. One,
Sure.
that both the agencies, CAP and Morningside, are able to provide those extended supports. So if they were to work with CAP or Morningside through Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and it's an individual that qualifies for those long-term supports from DDA, both agencies are able to just smooth transition right over and provide those supports.
So DVR would kind of be for the first year, and then it would transfer over to DDA. Is that correct?
Well, it kind of depends on, everything's really, really person-centered. And so it may
Sure.
not take that long for someone in DVR, or it might take longer and they extend that contract. It's just really, really super person-centered focused.
Mhm.
But I guess the average would be a year. Maybe, Debbie, do you agree?
Yeah, I think a year is such a broad range because it
Yeah.
really is person-centered, but a year is fair, I think.
So for the slide, this slide is specific to our agency and the service and the service areas in which we provide services. The Developmental Disabilities Administration and the DVR are the ones we've pretty much been talking about. Both of those are referral based. So you would reach out to DDA or DVR to get engaged with those. We would also be able to direct you if needed. The same is for Division of Services for the Blind, and we provide all those services in Grays Harbor and Pacific County. The Foundational Community Supports Program, we actually provide services in Grays Harbor, Pacific, Thurston, Lewis, and Mason counties. That is one of our programs that is a walk-in or self-referral. So we could actually do the assessment and submit it for approval right here. The last program is our Work First, which is a TANF program, and we also provide those services in Grays Harbor and Pacific County. And for those services, you'd want to talk with your Work First DD case manager, or excuse me, your Work First case manager.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Debbie, do you guys provide a similar services?
We do. We are not involved with Work First at all, unfortunately.
Okay.
And pretty much everything else is pretty much the same. This office, our Grays Harbor office, doesn't provide any services in Thurston or Mason counties for the FCS, the Foundational Community Support, but we do have other offices in those counties who do provide a lot. And ours are the same as what Shawna just said about walking in or calling. We seem to have more and more people all the time just calling and asking about that. I think that's a lot of word of mouth, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then services for the blind. Actually, our Grays Harbor office doesn't have anybody registered with the Division of Services for the Blind right now to provide those services, but we do in our Lewis, Thurston, and Pierce counties. So again, we could make that happen if we needed to.
Sure. And I wanted to mention really quickly that if you have folks that are possibly eligible for DDA or the Developmental Disabilities Administration services, we are able to help them fill out applications for that. So if anybody who's watching this would like help with applying for that service, the ARC is able to help with that. And Shawna or Debbie would be able to help you, with getting in touch with somebody from any of the other agencies there.
Yeah, and I was going to mention that. So thank you, because you guys have helped quite a few of the individuals we work with at applying for DDA. Really, really appreciate that. We can also help with that through the FCS program. If they're a client of the Foundational Community Supports, we can help with that as well. But we really like that ARC has so much expertise in doing that. So
excellent. That's wonderful. That's great to know. Okay, so here we have the DDA office information. So if you are interested, you can also call the DDA office, and they have an office in Aberdeen and in Pacific County. Where is supported employment located? So where is supported employment located? Supported employment is never in a segregated setting, with all coworkers being people with a disability. The federal government has defined what employment settings meet their definition of supported employment. Examples of employment settings for supported employment would be, number one, in a competitive job with no other individuals with disabilities. Number two, part of a mobile crew with no more than 6 individuals with disabilities who travel to different locations to provide service, such as cleaning or landscaping. And 3, self-employed businesses. An example would be a client who has set up a company that shreds documents for various businesses. So these are just a few examples. Obviously, there are tons of different places where supported employment can happen. But I just wanted to put it out there that it's not a place that people go. It's usually community-based, and the intention, like Shawna and Debbie were talking about earlier, part of the intention is really to be a part of the community and not to be isolated. And so, Debbie, I'll start with you. Do you have any comments on that?
Well, in Grays Harbor, all of our jobs currently would fit into the #1 category,
Okay.
where they, and there might be more than one individual with a disability working at that business,
Mm-hmm.
but the idea is that they are not segregated and isolated or, put in a special department, anything like that. They're a part of the entire workforce and work crew, and going to the Christmas parties and the staff meetings and everything, just like everybody else. We did away with the last of our crew group supported type things like landscaping businesses and stuff a few years ago,
Okay.
and just got everybody pretty much integrated out. It's, we keep going back to that phrase person-centered, but it's really that what do you want to be when you grow up thing. And so that's pretty much what drives the work we do and the kind of jobs people get. We have tried self-employment in the past, and I know that in some Morningside offices, there are some successful self-employed businesses. That takes a lot of work. We're not doing that in Grays Harbor right now, but we're sure open to it if a client really did want to set up their own business.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we've known some self-employed individuals, and that's been great for them. It all, like you said, depends on the person.
Yep.
What about you, Shawna?
I'm going to kind of echo what Debbie said. And as far as #1 goes, we have some amazing employers that work with our programs. And so although most sites might only have one individual, we do have some that have employed more than one individual with disabilities because they're such an amazing employer and they see the benefit of working with the program and working with the clients. The other thing is, so we do have an individual who's self-employed, and Debbie is right. It is very tricky, but we were lucky with the help of DVR, and this person had amazing parental support and guardian support in order to get her business going, but it has been very successful for her.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, it just goes to show that there are so many ways to do this. There's so many ways and so many opportunities for people. So thank you guys. Why is there supported employment? All right. So why is there supported employment? Supported employment helps people with disabilities have meaningful employment within the communities in which they live. Previously, these same people might have spent their lives in segregated settings such as institutions. Supported employment is a means by which people can be successful in employment that fits their talents, interests, and abilities. And really, this echoes everything that we've been talking about, and just kind of reiterates it, because really that is the point, is to have that meaning and be in the community. And, we know that in generations past that didn't happen, and all of our agencies have worked really hard to make sure that those opportunities are now available to anybody that wants them. So thank you guys for everything that you do to help people. Here's the contact information. If you are interested in contacting Morningside, the Coastal Community Action Program, or the ARC of Grays Harbor, we would love to speak with you. If you have questions about supported employment, feel free to give any of us a call and we could help you with that. And I think with that, we'll close unless you guys have anything further to add.
I just think Morningside and CAP, both agencies, they love what they do and it shows. And the individuals we work with become like a larger part of our family. So we're looking forward to working with you.
Absolutely.
Very,
Thank you,
very
Shawna.
much so. Yeah. I think for both agencies, it's really not so much a business or a job. It's it's become a mission. And I think the longer you're in this business and the closer relationships you get with those clients, it really is family, very, very much. And Christy, we need to thank you too for all you do and for putting things like this together. It's amazing.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Kristen.
much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. We'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.